Let's continue of Tfilas Kelim, and I want to discuss today electric Kelim. Kelim, which is coffee makers, blenders, all these things which is made from electric. Now, any Kelim which comes in direct contact to food has to be toivel. That means a toaster, a urn, all these things which is basically standard kelim, electric kelim, which is basically you use direct with food, you have to toivel. Now, b'poel, there are electric kelim, which is not digital, which has not a problem to toivel. Toasters, berry crackers, coffee makers, which is not digital, urns, all these things is not a problem to toivel it. You toivel it, you wait a few days to dry it up, and nothing happens. And as we have, he contested that he kashed every kaila which he has, which electric, in Baruch Hashem, zgila for arichas yomim. And you can make a bracha on it also. But you toivel it as it is, yeah, it goes in, and that's we'll get to how you toivel such a case. We'll get to that again. We'll get to that. We'll get to. I'm telling you, everything was being discussed. You know, I should hope that by now I have chazokah that I'm coming to there. Okay, but there are kelim which are digital, and if you're going to dip it in water, it's going to get ruined. There are such a kelim. So what is the solution? Now we have a couple of shittas. The first is the Chelkes Yankov, the Shivas Chelkes Yankov, famous Rav Braish, and the Beis Uvi, both hold that since it is a keli which you have to plug into the wall, that's called a keli which is mechiba lakarka. A keli which is mechiba lakarka is not considered a keli, and therefore you don't have to toivel it at all. That's the Chelkes Yankov. He wants to go a step further, and it says, since also you have to use it with a plug, it's like throwing with a plug, it's not considered a keli, it's called a machine. It's a machine. It's a machine which has to do with food. But basically it's not a keli, and therefore it is not considered, you don't have to toivel it. But a lot of achroinim argue very against it, against this svora that since you plug it in, it's called mechiber lekarka. Now, when it's mechiber lekarka, haklam moedim as a spotter. If you have an urn which is mechiber, to the floor or mechiber to the wall, whatever, come even the big ones, the commercial ones, but they want to say just because you plug it in, that should be considered mechiber lekarka. That's not correct. And this is the Shaivt Alayvi argues, the Menchas Yitzchak, the Moshe, the Igris Moshe, the Bayer Moshe, the Bretzin Ruf. All of them argue that this food is nicht kasura. So what is the solution? Says Reb Shlomo Zalman that the solution is you should have a bal malacha, a person which knows to dismantle the keli, and he should dismantle the part which is basically is a keli, because you have, for instance, a coffee maker which the keli inside, you could dismantle till there, but the keli itself you're not necessarily be able to dismantle it. He says you have to dismantle the keli itself. It should be in such a way that basically falid Hashem keli and hilchastima v'tahara. And therefore, once it is lost the Shem keli, and a yid puts it back together, the iman yid puts it back together. So who made the keli? The keli a yid made the keli, because the goy's keli was dismantled, and I'm making it again, and therefore that is the way you could do it. So that's the way as Reb Shlomo Zalman says that you should do how you should do it. Now it's not enough. Sometimes people dismantle the wire. That's not enough, because you didn't do anything with the keli. You have to dismantle something with the keli, which is not that easy. It has to be an iman that not a normal person could do. Then a uman meri, the Yiddish uman meri, then it's considered like it is a
A lot of these machines, you actually have to put together the keli. Let's say like a food processor.
Yeah.
Every time you have to take out the keli, wash it, and then you have to put in all the gadgets. Then you put together the keli.
Okay, but the whole thing itself.
The whole itself has a hole.
Yeah, the Sigonisha, but that's the way how the keli is. It's not the mantle, the
It's
keli.
not mushroom. It's not mushroom.
But this is the way how it works. It's a keli which is it's made to dismantle and put together. That's how the keli goes. It's like keli shel perukim. Kemivim, das heißt doch der keli. What? The keli and the purpose is not a big deal because it doesn't. Nothing happens. It's not even the. Yeah. Okay. That's one eitzah. There's another eitzah that, and also this, the poskim say we use this only b'tzirav of the chelkes yanka was mechibel karka. Again, we use for the tzirav. Stamma zoyt to dismantle the keli. He wasn't say that's not enough. Then there's other poskim which want to say that the solution is you give the keli a present for a goy. You sell it for a goy, or you give it a present for a goy, and he has to make a kinyan. He has to make all the kinyanim. Or he pays for money, or machtagbu, or meshicha, all the kinyanim which a goy is koina. Once he was his koina, then you ask him that he should borrow you the keli, yeah, and therefore you can use it because we know a keli which belongs to a goy. I can use a keli belongs to a goy. I don't have to toivel it because it's not sharoz yang merishis goy l'shis akim. The reason why rishis Yisrael, the reason why we have to toivel a keli. Remember we spoke in the first year. It goes mi rishis akim l'shis Yisrael kedisha so ager you have to toivel. But over here it belongs to the goy, and that's how you can use it because you can use a goy shekela because it's bechiv tefillah. And this is what they used to do by COVID. Remember COVID 5 years ago, 100 years ago? COVID, and people bought kelim, mikvahs were closed, and you couldn't go out to the yam, so therefore they used to sell it for a goy, and then after a while you ask the goy to give it back to you. Then by electric, it stays like that. He's always, it's always the goys, and basically you borrow it. But when it comes to COVID, after COVID, you ask back, the goy should sell it back to you, or give you back a matana. Now, you can toivel it.
You rent it.
Also, if you rent it from the goy, it's also fine. As long as the keli belongs to the goy and stays belonging to the goy, I can use a keli, to toivel it, and that's why it is okay. Then there's another solution. You don't have to sell it or give it a matana. You give him, as a kohenazan, a shitzvus in them. He has a percentage. So if he has a percentage, it is a keli which belongs a yid to a goy, and a keli which belongs to a yid and a goy together, but shitzvus is possible not tefillah. Why? Because it did not yet go out from reshus goy l'reshus Yisrael, because it's still a part is belongs for the goy, so therefore it's possible mitzvila. Now it's no different that he's 50% shitov, or he has only $1 or a 50 a shuva prita. As long as he has a shitzvus in this keli, therefore he belongs to him. Is do a chaylik a keli which belongs to a goy to a yid, and therefore it is potem mitzvila because it didn't go out mershis Yisrael. That's the shit the aitzes with the poskim say. But Moiri Varabi Puparuv Zchis the line in Vayan Yosef holds that a keli which you cannot toivel means you dip it and it breaks. You don't have to do anything. You could use it as it is. And as I halt Rafishelish Hershkovich, which told me also the Torah is bechayev given to toivel a keli which you cannot toivel. But the Poporov got with the Dvurim Shaltam, which explained it. And I'm going to tell you, he's the kid of what he said. He says like this. Since it is a keli which you cannot toivel, there is no chiv to be toivel. Why? And he explains for it like this. It doesn't say anywhere, it says also to use a keli which is not getoivelt. There is such a thing that you cannot use a keli, because there's a mitzvah essa to toivel a keli. It's a mitzvah. But the Torah did not say clearly, User, nishtamash, bekeli, which is not toivel. Torah gave you a mitzvah essa, the eraisa, a kapurim v'simatchis, that you have to toivel it. Now, in Simon Yid Gimel, Hilchas Tzitzis, the Mugnavru brings down a motcha. The motcha in Hilchas Tzitzis writes like this. It brings down B'Shemri, that we know if a person is on the street in Shabbos, and he sees that his tzitzis apostle. If he is in a Rishis Harabim, he has to take it off. Right away, have to take it off. Why? Because apostle tzitza, the other tzitzas are a masa, and is over of poshet of Isa Deraisa. Because if you have 4 kamfas, and you have 3 tzitzas, if one tzitz, from 4 tzitzas, one fell off, you have now 3 tzitzas, it's apostle tzitza. Now, the other 3 kamfas, the tzitzas, are a masa. It's a no, it's a masa. When you have all 4, is kemagayin the is no, but when it's apostle, is a masa. So it's also tzigayin, you have to take it over in the middle of the street. Thomas is geshein like Carmelus, which carrying in a Carmelus is only a Isser Derbonen. Shtayt in Alucha, you don't have to take it off. Why? Because it's a shame a person should take off his tzitzas in the middle of the street. So when it's a Deraisa, you have no option. You have to do it. But when it's only a Derbonen, the Derbonen were makel when it came to Kuva Dabrias. When it came to Kuva Dabrias. Azoy Shichenurach. Kim the Motche, and the Motche says like this. Why is it like that? Because there's nowhere in the Torah where the Torah says you cannot wear a beged which has 4 kamfas without tzitzis. It doesn't say such thing. So mitzvahs esed raisa, even it's a chiyuvi that when you have dalat kamfas, you have to put on film. You have to put on tzitzis. So it's what basically a mitzvah's esai, a positive mitzvah when you have dalat kamfas, but it doesn't say in the Torah that you cannot go with the tzitzah which does not have tzitzis. But my lezuk terazoy. Anytime this is not a mitzvah which you have to do, it's the Torah zhuka is to do otherwise, that you don't have to do it. Automatically, when I have no option, is ones rachmuna patra. The Torah zhuka you should toivel it, you should put on tzitzis. You cannot put on tzitzis. Shabbos you cannot put on tzitzis. It's also to put on tzitzis. So since you are in a matzav, you cannot put on tzitzis, and basically. Bista oinus, so therefore zug the motche darf man nicht, you could wear. And he says, the motche says, is there any place, does it say that you cannot go into a Jewish house which belongs to a Jew and they'll put on mezizah? Steht nicht, als man sagt, sie usser ran zu gehen in a Platz, wie es da mezizah, wie es nicht kommt mezizah. So a mitzvah, you have to put on a mezizah. But am tu nicht herangehen, zug the motche, in der Munga Avrum bringt sie dann in Semiyit Gimel, Sivkut Ches, zug the Munga Avrum, von der motche, as we see, that's the reason why Shabbos you don't have to take over the tzitzis, because it's a Karmelos, fine. Kimt jetzt, the Shisram you have to take over als Ilche Shabbos, nicht als Mitzvah tzitzis, als Ilche Shabbos. The Mugar finishes, he adin, the same heter which the Motche writes, the Gabba Shabbos who became apostle, he adin, if a person is in a place, he's in China, and he has a beged which he has 4 kamfas, and he doesn't have tzitzis. There's no way to buy tzitzis. Zug the motche, there's no problem. Zug the mugavrum, according to this motche, you can use it. Because as long as you could put on tzitzis, you have to put on tzitzis. So therefore, if you got postel and you're a place where there are tzitzis, and it's in the middle of the weekend, you could put on tzitzis, you have to put on tzitzis. And only Shabbos you do a heter in the motche, you don't have to put on tzitzis. But if you are in a place which there aren't any tzitzis, so you got tzitzis. Zug the mugavrum, zelf zach Well, only when the Torah says don't do that, then you cannot do it. But when the Torah says you should put on, gives me a mitzvah I have to put on. What? What's Chomezer? Chomezer basically is dua iser.
Yeah, it's not a mitzvah. It's not a mitzvah.
That's tashbisi.
This is tashbisi.
Oh yeah, the erev paisik. Yeah. B'mayla zuk puperuf. The same thing is by tfilas keilim. It doesn't say anywhere that you cannot use a keli that the Torah doesn't say. The haluch is that if you toivel a keli, you can use a keli if it's not toivel. But the Torah did not say it's also. It's not a negative mitzvah. You cannot use a keli which is basically not toivel. We learn it only from the pasuk Ach b'maynidu yischatu. So it says a positive, you should toivel it. So therefore, b'mukim hoshkam brayre, it will break. You don't have to toivel it. You don't have to sell it. You don't have to dismantle it. Bispotter and finish. Gang water.
You'd normally be over mitzvah, but here other mitzvah.
Bis over a mitzvah, but over die bist da oinas. Bist du nicht over auch nicht, weil oinas rechmuna patra. Oinas rechmuna patra. In azoy pasken ter, in azoy pasken der official, and let's do pasken. Now everyone agrees with it, but at least man sagt Gdoli achronim. Wo es am so gepasken, is ba'etzem yesh mukim and huklach tamer sazam and it's very hard to dismantle such thing. Let me tell you, because you have to dismantle the keli itself. Yes, you have a coffee maker, a kori maker, which everything is plastic, and the only keli is inside innerwendig, and it's one piece keli. You cannot dismantle such keli. You have to make a drill in. It's possible.
What keli is in the coffee?
There is a metal dach where it's brewed. Kori.
Beans, those beans have, because of those beans, but don't you
Not because the beans, because the keli. It's a keli. The boils the water, which boils the water in. Boils the water, yeah. But all these things what you just spoke is a thing which you cannot toivel. But if you have, for instance, an electric oven, which you cannot toivel, as we said, let's say a microwave or whatever, but you have a tavnit, what is it called, a tray, which you can take out, that's not part of that, that you have to toivel. Kemiven, that's such a thing. All the trays which is in the ovens, and you can toivel it, you have to toivel it.
So if you
Now,
never,
I'm not, yeah.
If you never put food directly on the tray.
That's something else. That's something else. Yeah, but in the microwave, usually you put you have things which you have the things which turn. It has to come a glass.
You don't put food directly.
No, you don't put.
baked
You don't. Sure, you put. You have a knish. You want to warm them up. You have a lot. Of course. What?
Put it on a plate.
No, the microwave itself has some kind of plate you should take over and put in. Glass plate. So that you have to toivel. Anything which you could. It's not a part of the. So the challah you'll have to toivel it. What?
Previously, you said that if you can table it, then you don't need to table it, right?
If you
You can all the larger things, you can table it. So, well, it might break.
it might break means that you can't toivel
Table
it.
it.
No, das meint man kann nicht toiveln. Ich kaufe a kele which I cannot use because when I want to toivel the breaks, that means I dismantle the kele. Ich habe es zerbrochen. Das heißt ich geused. Die Stammsche ist zu usen zu machen
After
Coffee.
you can table the keli. The thing is,
That doesn't mean you can toivel a kele where you can toivel it and break it. That doesn't mean you can toivel it. Because you break it. You can't use it anymore. Can't sich toivelen the electric kele and still use it under which it was made for. So automatically
And it costs a lot of money to table the same thing. Yeah.
Das heißt, man kann nicht teufeln. If you toivel something and it breaks, means you can't teufeln the kele. Because once you toivel and it breaks, hast du nicht can use it out of it.
Would you say that it's
Okay.
better to look for a brand that honest?
Yeah, come even. Die kennst du mal eins, was hat nicht alle Schalas erwartet. Nochmal, no question about it. Das kann man kein mitzvah. If not, einer kann man a potra, but if you have, you shouldn't be einer, so you should do that. But so therefore the trays with these things, same thing goes with the blender. The knife, the blender knives, which you have a blender knife, this has to be toiveled. And has to be toiveled regularly with a bracha, because it prepares food. A mixer, the things which is a mixer, which you mix only for challahs, you have to toivel ochet, but without a bracha. Because, remember, we spoke last previous shiurim, that you only use it it's not ready, the chil is not ready, you still have to bake it. So a kapun be toivelit but without a bracha. What it comes blenders, which has then all the knives, all the sachets which you blend all kind of foods, carrots, which stuff. Okay, so that's the Indian of what we spoke about electric kyle. So now how do you toivel it? Before you toivel a kela, you have to make sure, and very important halacha, which is there's a few times already over here in Mikvah, which I saw you allowed to bring kelim, and I didn't realize you have to take off all the chatzitzas. We know the halacha in Hilchas Tefillah that menatoira, a thing which has a chatzitza, if it's riboy, it's on the most of the body or most on the kela, and is makbat, and you have a problem, you don't want it to be, it's a chatzitza medaraisa. Midrabanan, even if it's a small piece, if you are makbed on it, it's a isa drabonan. And even if it's roiv kela, and you're not makbed, it's also midrabonan. That's the cloud.
If it's small.
So if you have a small piece and you're not makbed, it's fine. We're going to get to what it means. We're going to let me finish it, then we're going to get to it. Okay, let's get to this. Let's go slowly. That's the klal of nichas tefillah. It's the klal of nichas tefillah b'mener, klal of nichas tefillah b'nusha, it's klal of nichas tefillah b'kailam. If it's riboy, the makbed is adraisa, riboy she'ayna makbed is adrabonon, miyat a makbed is adrabonon. Now, if you have, so therefore, you have to make sure all the tags, all the stickers which have the price on it, All these things which you buy, you purchase a keli, it has a price or has something which is on it, which the sider is to take it off, you have to take it off. Because that's a thing which you're makbet. It's mid hamakbet. It's a chatzitz midrabonon. And if you toivel it with a sticker, you have to take it off and toivel it again. Toivel it again. But that's only a sticker which you are makbet. What do I stress? Because there are some, for instance, there are some machines, electric machines, for instance, or other kelim which has a name, or it has instructions, or it says, watch, warning. If people want it, just stay. Such a thing is, you can toivel it with that. It's not a problem. Or if you have a name tag, Christian Dior, fancy name which, when people come in and see you have a crystal with this name, oh, you're better. So in such a case, you want it to stay the sticker, and the same as you want over here to say, whatever, so therefore, such a case, that's not makbet, verkehrt. So amir, was makbet, you want you to stay, it's not a chatzisa. But other than that, most of the things is makbet. Or not only, even the glue, if you took off the sticker, and it stayed glue, you have to take it off. Because people are makbet, especially ladies are makbet. So therefore, you have to make sure, and there are a few ways how to take all these things. First of all,
it's subjective or makbet is subjective.
What?
If I don't care either way, does it matter?
If
I have to get it up.
Yeah, what do you mean?
I don't care about the glue, but he might care about the glue.
Oh, du hat sich eine andere Schale in Jerdai, du eine ganze Schale wegen dir Neuße. The Welt is makbet than ich nicht. The Welt is makbet than ich nicht. So therefore, in such a case, is a problem. Because the Welt is a makbetige Sache. If the Welt is nicht makbet, the people are not makbet on it, and you are makbet, it's a problem. But if everybody is makbet, it's a problem. So therefore, before you go to tefillah, you have to take off the sticker, you have to take off the glue, and the easiest way is you put on oil on it, you put on alcohol. There's gugon, that's the best thing which uses, all the kelim makers has gugon as a name of some kind of liquid, or you take a blower also. You take a hair dryer, you put it on it, takes it off in no time. But you have to take it off, and if you didn't take it off, you have to toivel it again.
If you want it there, that means you're makbet.
Now, what?
If you want it there.
If you were there, that means you're eine makbet. Makbet what?
You makbet that to me there.
That is avadigit. Even usually makbet means to take it off. Makbet.
But I want something to be there. I have something.
Oh, that's something else. That's something else. In the andere Schale. That's. I can put him in the halacha term is eine makbet erup zu nehmen. That means you don't have to have the minute is eine makbet erup zu nehmen. You're ready. It's just saying people are ready to stay because the warning stickers everybody's been ready to stay. That's called eine makbet. You're right. Ob es makbet to stay is noch besser. Warte. And it's a kimt aran halacha when people have some kind of bubus in them. Whatever. Ich bin nicht allein jetzt in Hilches Udom. But akaponam. So therefore you have to make sure before you bring it to the mikveh, take off all these things because most of the time you come here. Over here, start kratzen, all those things. Arbeit das nicht. So again,
stickers on the bottom of the kelim.
Yeah.
Like on the bottom of a mug.
Are people usually makbet or not? That's the kid. If people are not makbet, it's not choitzes. If people are makbet, then it's a problem.
I had a keli, there with this goo stuff, and you couldn't take it
Goo
off.
gone.
This goo gone, it just wouldn't go off. The glue. Someone told me, and later, meaning now you don't find it too much because they make the glue shach. But I'm all like it says, there's no answer. There are certain glues that just don't come off. From the bottom of the mug, certain needs to be very put on mahagam.
Okay, so then in such a case, don't take it off to begin with. Don't touch it. Don't start this. Once you start this, the choladayas says if you the nail. So in a case when derech klal, nail polish you have to take off. But because we pass like the Terezuf, as a Philippine eine makbet you should take off. The Rebbe's brief, the Friedrich Rebbe's brief, we spoke about it. But sometimes you have a problem. You cannot take it off. Then don't start. And I had once a shaila. Somebody had to go to mikveh, and she took off all the nails, and one nail she couldn't take off. And she started, and what do you do now? And so she couldn't take it off. She had a boob over there. So then I said the idea is paint all of the nails again. Once it's new, freshly those, it's like put them with the Eved Shchoitzes. Stop. Okay. But you don't let it for the last minute to take off the nail polish. I can put them on the plate because we're talking about it. Tefillas keilim. Fine. That's the Indian of achron lekeilah. Now tefillah. Tefillas keilim has to be and a mikveh which is kosher letefillas nushim. It's not enough. It's kosher for tefillas anushim gvurim. Has to be, as we learned it, those achmayne bar, mikveh mayim, yeah, and someone gelernt that in the Pusik steht dort, as achba may nidu ischatu, mikveh, which are nidde, should be, has ketoivel over there. So therefore, has to be a kosher mikveh. Not every mikveh, you ketoivel kaila. The Bavische mikveh is derech kal, you could, but the Weltische mikvehs, not every mikveh is kosher tefillas kaila. I'm just bringing it to your attention. You have to make sure, it should be a mikveh, which it is. But us, it's always a shukah, it's always, so it's beseder. But from the mikvahs, you have to know which one it is. Okay. What? Both pools. But if the filter is working, then it's a problem. But if the
big one.
In the big one, the small one is the other filter, that's not a problem. Okay. Every keilah has to be toivelt fully. Because as we know in tefillah, it's not like Gulas keilim, you have a big keilah, you could kasher one half, and then turn it around and kasher the other half. Yeah, if you have a big pot, one kasher, only half a pot goes into a hot boiling pot of water. You make it in 2 or 3 times. When it comes to mikveh, has to be mikveh shekola gif oilu. That's why we need memsu. Because why do you need memsu? What's the gate of memsu? As has to be a mikveh which everybody could, a human body could be covered. Memsu could cover a human body. So therefore, everything has to be together, toivel. So therefore, if you have a keilah, which one piece was not in the mikveh together, now fully, is keilah you didn't toivel it. Keilah you didn't toivel it, has to toivel it again. You could toivel the whole keilah, even if it have the handles, everything has to be covered, has to be toiveled together. And you could toivel it this way. If you have a pot, which is basically metal, mechiv midaraisa to be toivel, and then you have the handle which is plastic, which most our pots are plastic. Now plastic is not mechiv b'tefillah. But since it is one keli, you have to toivel it k'moshehi. Even the plastic chaylik with the plastic is nicht kachati. Some person will say that the plastic is choitzes on the piece of metal which the plastic covers. Yeah, when the plastic goes in, it covers a piece of metal which is not, water doesn't touch. The answer is, since the keli is made to be like that, it is a keli which is basically that's the keli how you use it. You have it's enough that you toivel it. You don't have to dismantle the keli. You toivel it as it is, but you have to also make sure that the full keli has to be covered in water. And if anything sticks up, the tefillah is not kosher. What's wrong about the wire? When you toivel a machine, do you have to toivel the full wire or not? Zuk Travasner, and then I saw some Moshe Halberstam writes that the Mechsisrik also holds like that you don't have to toivel the whole. You only have to toivel a piece of the wire, which is basically a little piece from the wire, which is connected to the pot, to the machine, but the rest of the wire does not have to be connected in this. Because it will zoom the Shachalik for the Kailik. It's not maybe a technical Zach which basically makes it work. So the erste Stickel Willer will dort ein Rieter und the Keile, and this is decided.
You have a big thing, the whole cup, wherever it is. You don't want to where the water with the actual Keile.
The whole Keile has to be toivel. But the wire is the Heilig from the Keile. So therefore, halter the wire does not to be toivel. No, it's not a part of the Keile. It's a zatige Zach which makes it.
So you don't have a coffee machine, whatever it is.
No.
So only a certain part where the water boils is the actual Keile. Oh, the rest of the chachki is not.
It's true. If you could,
that part.
If you could take it out, yeah, but you can't. In according, you can. If you take it all the part, well, if you could take it out, that's fine. You can, then you table it k'moshi.
So what's the difference in the plug?
No, because that's a part. That's the keli. It's a keli which is made. Half a keli is plastic, half a keli is metal. That's the keli. So what mine automatisch is. In some Gelendams, the Shala, all previous shiurim, you have a keli which is glaziert. You remember? We spoke about kelim, which is basically mechibim betfila, and it's covered with something. It's not mechibim mechila. The main keli is mechibim mechila. It's a mechiber tefillah. So therefore, a kele, which is a korig, which you toivel the whole machine as it is. But the wire is a technical zach, which is an outside zach. In there, halt as du zach nicht toivel.
You have to let the water get inside.
Let's see to them next. Noch a minute. So again, the kid said what it is, you derech tashmisha, the way how you use the scale, this is how you toivel it. So therefore, the way how you use it, this is how you dip it. When you toivel a bottle, for instance, which is short, such you have a glass bottle, seltzer bottle, but it's glass, or any bottle which has glass. Dort is the lucha. You have to make sure that the water goes in. You have to tilt it. It's a very wichtige lucha. People don't realize. You have to tilt it till the water fills in everything. Because since we said that the water has to be toiveled, that the water should go in every plate is uncovered. So therefore, you have to make sure when you take a bottle with a short neck and you dip it into the mikveh, but there nothing goes in with the air, you have to tilt it in sideways, and then the water goes in. Once the water fills in, then it gets full. So therefore, in that case, you have to make sure that the water goes in everywhere. But when you take, for instance, a korik, once you dip it into water, automatically the water goes all over. So that's why you have to let it dry, because the takavas got all over. So therefore,
you have to let it, for the water to get into all the nooks and crevices.
Water travels. Water travels. Only water when you dip in water, it travels.
It takes time.
So that's machen sure as the wrong the Wasser rein. That's right. It should go. It doesn't take too much time, but bottle takes time because the air doesn't let. So technically, as you put a bottle. That's why even when you have a bottle, you have a hole. And you want to pour it pours very hard. You have to make another hole. That's why when you open a can of pineapple juice, you make two holes. Why? Because air has to come in order to it should go in. So in such a case, you have to make sure the kele should become full, and if not, this is getoivelt. As you mentioned now, every place in the kele has to be water has to come to that. So therefore, when you toivel a kele, if you touch, you hold the kele. So the place where your fingers is basically doesn't get water. So therefore, in such a case, or you should let go a minute in the water. That the place where you keep it up, then you should turn it. You could turn it, and or two hands. That's auch das sagen, was steht in der Mu. Or the other thing is you make wet your hand. And the first thing you make wet your hand. Once your hand is wet, then even if you touch it, water will go. So the water, which is the hand is wet. Machlokes the Muramu says has to be wet from the mikveh, and the Terezuv holds even other water, as long as if you wash your hands and you toivel it like this, then it's also fine. But lamas inzem mamachmas over the remu. That means you make sure your hand should be, and that's why you toivel it to one hand, you give it over to the other hand. So that's the what?
Why dafka wet from the mikveh?
Dafka wet from the mikveh. Will sagen, dafka the Wasser von der mikveh. Also der remu. Der Terezuv denkt sich tak auf dem. Also einmal das Wasser wird es a shuka. Ja, kikala shkhnu ganz Terezuv denkt sich der remu mit dem. Aber was in Zimmer macht man das, also sagen wir zu schlafen. Weil einmal am wir schlafen oben als Saramu. So at least wir machen wieder Ramu.
You put it on the floor and let go.
Aber auch geht.
Between the floor.
Of course, because first the gewein when the water is going out for the water. It's like afabisha yeragle your shekas with the over, like you said. Macha mita sheragle. Once it went into the water, it became wet, and it's no problem. Now there is another option also. You put it into a sal, into a basket. In front, when you have a lot of kelim, that's a much easier thing to do. You put it into a basket, and you toivel it over there, so automatically it gets loose because it starts floating, and so that's why you put it in, and you have to. If it's more than one kelim, you have to take a chocolate that two kelim shouldn't.
No, I mean the actual basket.
So do this is what you Now, some achloikes a poiskem, if the locha is that in order the kele should be toivel in a basket, has to be sheferes hanoit. Now, some achloikes achroinam sheferes hanoit. That means it has to be a hole which is a sheferes hanoit, 2 fingers. Like the ashukah, the board which is a ashukah, you have to have the it's about 4 by 4 centimeter. Has to be a hole of 4 by 4 centimeter. Now you have baskets which does not have this 4 centimeters. Now you don't have choice in it. It's no post which say, since they have a lot of holes, so it's mitzirif, it's a mitzarif. All the holes is a mitzarif, and therefore, zusammen du schweres erneut, that's fine. But
on the side too.
the what?
Could be like a laundry basket. There's no
And all the holes.
on the bottom. There's just holes on the walls.
Yeah.
Oh, so Zabazach. All Zabazach, yeah. That's some points more mitzarif. But the Pesach Chiva brings down a Chacham Tzvi mit Alvisha Sarad, which they hold no. It's not mitzarif. So automatically, even if it's in a sal, it's ke'ili in a separate thing. And if it doesn't have Shaveris Hanoid, then it's a problem. So L'ktchila Zug Nachroinam, that when we come to be Toivel Kailem, you should try to make at least one hole should be a bigger hole. Now in the mikvahs, which the professional mikvahs, the keli mikvahs, they have such thing. They have special baskets, and they open up some a hole or two. It should be we should have a shveres hanoid. But again,
I saw with him.
you saw what?
I saw with him.
Without doch noch mal. A sach poisket.
What happens if you put the whole basket?
Oh, you put the whole basket in the whole keli schwimmt da raus.
No, it's deeper. It's deeper.
Top of the basket is in the. Meaning the handles are not.
That means when you put it, the whole basket goes in.
The basket, the handles, just the basket.
The whole basket goes in. In B'mayl is this okay? Dann ist es kein Problem. Aber dann hast du schwer so Leute malen. Hast du das?
Is there anything about the color of the water? You have to be maxed.
The color? No. Is jetzt so. Ob es ist color which steht in Haloch im Schnais, that the art color which basically is a problem. Kemiven. Ja, some of the klar, la mikvah was geworden shinimara is possible. But when we talk shinimara, what we have is because usage of people, it's not a problem. Shinimara of usage of people is not a problem. Now, if it falls in a bucket of paint and it changes the mara, you have a problem. If you put in wine in it and changes the color, yeah, you're right. It's a problem. That's how shinimara was possible.
Here's the shinimara from kelim, not from people.
From use, exactly, from kelim and from people's usage.
Chemicals.
That chemicals doesn't change the color. Make forget chemicals makes it clean. Water, color water.
Chemicals are too much.
Sometimes it makes it a little.
Care what?
No, some chemicals have to make it blue.
So it's not blue. It becomes so see-through as chemicals doesn't make chemicals.
Algae.
It's the chemicals kill everything. But mine automatisch the water see-through, and therefore it is. So such thing. Die alle Sachen steht klar. Da viele da heilig bei. Es gibt viele Snuschen, was also kommen. After bekan steht klar nämlich Sachen, was sie geschehen mit Atzmoy, or even mayim which is colored is a ganze bisschen sechs beschneis a ganze Seite wegen die Poisel mit Mikva Shinimara and Boise Vaniri, so that's not a problem. So our mikvahs which is changed in color, usually all the keli mikvahs which are in the stores are so much used and so much tevna, you never change it. You change it for 40 years. It's das ist kein problem. Das ist Shinimara mit usage, Shinimara mit usage aber kein problem. Aber kein problem, wir können es usen.